Barrasso, Senator Carper, members of the committee. I'm Bill Panos, the Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Wyoming Department of Transportation. Today, infrastructure investment is on the national agenda. Yet delivering the best possible transportation infrastructure requires more than money. We also must use each dollar efficiently. There are ways to reform federal requirements so that transportation dollars can be put to work more efficiently while protecting the environment and other public interests. We can improve the project review process. We can also streamline other regulations. When regulation is not streamlined, personnel effort and scarce dollars have to be unnecessarily redirected from executing projects to regulatory compliance. That is a suboptimal result. More specifically, we can improve scheduling for review of projects requiring an EIS. Today, federal agencies can obtain more time for review by not concurring in the lead agency's proposed schedule. Congress should assume that the lead agency will give fair consideration to the scheduling views of other agencies and let the lead agency set the schedule. Turning to smaller infrastructure projects, they generally receive categorical exclusion treatment for NEPA review. This expedited approach helps states use funds more promptly. We would welcome additions to the classes of projects receiving categorical exclusion treatment. Let me add that smaller projects can also be delayed by requirements other than NEPA review. For example, a state DOT may have to wait months for a determination that no 404 permits are needed for a project within an existing operational right-of-way. This is frustrating, especially when there is no water in the project area. We suggest that for cases like that, a time limit should be placed on responses from other agencies. Turning to other regulation, rural states should be excused from requirements intended to address urban traffic congestion. For example, in the proposed rulemaking notice for the System Performance and Congestion Management Rule, the first reason provided by FHWA for the proposal was congestion reduction. Rural states do not experience anything resembling the congestion in heavily populated areas. However, under that rule, states must develop computerized applications and report on millions of traffic data points. For example, Wyoming would report to USDOT the number of vehicles on the road halfway between Cody and Casper at 10 a.m. on a Monday. USDOT does not need this information from states like Wyoming, but it will take time and money for us to comply. That will detract from our efforts to advance basic transportation improvements, including those intended for safety. We also have concerns with stewardship agreements between FHWA and state DOTs. These agreements, once brief, now routinely exceed 50 pages. Most text in these agreements is standardized, and the subject matter extends beyond the provision that give rise to these agreements. For example, a state assumes DOT responsibilities for project design, plans, specifications, and other similar matters. Yet, these agreements require advance notice or approval of changes in many state DOT practices. This includes those for which the state supposedly assumed USDOT responsibilities. Statute does not require these advance approvals. Yet today, states have to accept these terms in stewardship agreements. Instead, requirements for these agreements should be established through rulemaking. USDOT should have to include in a proposed rulemaking notice justification for requirements that are not in statute. The provisions that survive the rulemaking process would then supersede the current provisions. Before closing, I'll briefly comment on infrastructure investment. The nation benefits from federal investment in surface transportation infrastructure in rural states like ours. Yet public-private partnerships and other approaches that depend on a positive revenue stream from a surface transportation project are not a solution for rural states. Projects in rural states are unlikely to be able to generate revenues that attract investors. However, using the formula-based FAST Act approach to distributing funds would ensure that all states participate in the transportation portion of an infrastructure initiative. It would also help deliver the benefits of any increase in infrastructure investment to the public promptly. In conclusion, as the nation considers increasing transportation infrastructure investment, our statement offers ideas for streamlining transportation project and program regulation while continuing to protect public interest. The public won't want additional investments in transportation to be slowed down by unproductive requirements. And we hope our suggestions are timely and helpful to the committee. Thanks for your consideration and for the opportunity to testify.
Well,